and welcome back to WePC. Even if you're an avid keyboard and mouse user, you have to admit that many games are better played with a controller. Traversing the tormenting and twisting depths of Dark Souls is an arduous task indeed, but far easier with the use of a gamepad. After all, it was designed for it. A wealth of other titles practically require a controller to have anything resembling a good time. As such, despite our affinity to the trusted mouse and keyboard, all PC gamers need a good controller in their arsenal. This is why we're happy to hear NACON were sending us their Revolution Pro Controller 3 to review. Larger than the standard DualShock 4, the Revolution Pro Controller 3 is fantastically proportioned, with a size comparable to that of the Xbox One controller. This might be considered odd as the Revolution Pro Controller 3 was designed and officially licensed for use on the PS4, but there's no harm in looking to the competition for some inspiration. When you consider size, you're also going to want to consider weight. And this is where the Revolution Pro Controller 3 shines: customizable weighting. Simply remove the back panels on each handle and pop in the included pair of 10, 14 or 16 gram masses. If you prefer a lighter controller, then you could forego them altogether. It's always nice to have options. The layout also mimics that of the Xbox One controller. The left analog stick is positioned in the upper left, and the 8-way D-pad sits next to the right analog stick. Otherwise, the button layout resembles that of the DualShock 4. The 4 action buttons carry Sony's signature triangle, circle, cross, and square, along with their trademark colours. The touchpad sits top center between the vertical share and options buttons, and the PlayStation Home button resides underneath. A very standard PS4 controller in most regards. Over to the shoulder buttons, and it's a similar story. The bumpers L1 and R1 are where you'd expect them to be, but feel like they have a tad too much travel. The triggers are rounded at the sides, making it comfortable to hold, and they're designed with quite a sharp upward angle, which means it's much easier to grip and use them without slipping. Finally, you have what NACON calls shortcuts. These are remappable buttons that are dubbed S1 to 4 and sit towards the back of the inside handles. Placement will depend on hand size, but we found the buttons to be higher up than where your pinky and ring finger would naturally rest. For the most part, the Revolution Pro Controller 3 is constructed from hard plastic, with the exceptions being the vaguely rubber back panels to the handles, in addition to the analog sticks. Their rubberized tips provide a lot of extra grip, which the DualShock controller always seemed to lack. So that covers design and layout, but what is it actually like to use? As far as connectivity goes, it couldn't be simpler. Yes, this was designed as a PS4 controller, but if you know how to connect a PS4 controller to a PC, then hooking up the Revolution Pro 3 to your PC won't be an issue. Some might be wondering if the Revolution Pro 3 offers wireless support. The answer is sadly no. But really, if you are using this on a PC, then you aren't going to be too far away from your PC anyway. And the included 3-meter USB-C cable is definitely long enough to run from the console to your sofa. Furthermore, you can easily use this controller with a headset. It has an inbuilt 3.5mm headphone jack, similar to a DualShock 4, so you needn't worry about in-game chat. The companion software to NACON completely reinvents what we mean when talking about button mapping. Not only can you decide exactly what you would like each button on your controller to do, but you can also decide on the radius of the dead zone on the joysticks, their sensitivity, the force required to recognize a shoulder button press, and you can even assign functions to the shortcut buttons. These functions can even be changed on the fly, as you can assign different profiles that can be easily switched between with the touch of the profile button. Now, when it comes to using the controller competitively, this can provide all the difference. Considering it frees your thumb to keep working on the front side of the pad, it gives you an advantage over competing players when it comes to the actual physicality of using a controller. I've already touched on the grippiness of the joysticks, but seriously, I can't express enough how easy these were to use. They instantly spring back to their resting positions, and the actual material they're made from feels durable and definitely up to the challenge of competitive gameplay, as that's what this controller was designed for. It's the same when it comes to the shoulder buttons. They are really easy to pull down and they spring right back to their resting position. Combine that with the software inside that allows the shoulder buttons to be used at the slightest press, and this is what makes this a brilliantly easy to use controller on PC. The NACON Revolution Pro Controller 3 definitely offered me an advantage over the other controller players, and I'm 99% certain this is thanks to the back buttons. Being able to assign melee, sprint, crouch, and jump to my back buttons means that I was able to keep my crosshairs on other players even during frantic movement, with the added ability to duck and jump giving me third dimensions of movement that might not have been accessible to the other players. Basically, in a competitive FPS shooter, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a controller that gives you an edge like the NACON Revolution Pro 3, apart from obvious competitors such as Scuff. To be honest, it felt kind of wrong to be playing Halo on an official PS4 controller. Initially, this took me aback as I'm playing on PC with a controller and no aim assist. Yet I still kept up and even won against the other players. Headshot after headshot with the DMR proved to me that the controller may well be the best way to experience Halo Reach on the PC, with the right thumbstick being really easy to position. The vibration on the controller added in an additional level of immersion too, adding a weight and heft to the weapons you use as you fire them. I found it really easy to play Injustice 2 with the NACON. The buttons on the controller were super responsive and made for some really easy combo building, which, to be frank, can be difficult on other gamepads. Slipping on the D-pad or accidentally hitting two buttons at once can mean the difference in a game-ending chain and a break that leaves you open to defeat. If you enjoy playing fighters on gamepads, then I can assure you that the NACON Revolution Pro Controller 3 is a brilliant step up from standard issue controllers. If you haven't already played Dirt Rally 2, then I should tell you that the challenge of the game doesn't always come from trying to win. It can often come from just trying to finish. This is a punishing racer, one which rewards technicality and precision. Thanks to the customizable nature of the gamepad itself, it was easy to set up a profile specifically for Dirt Rally, which allowed me greater control over the cars on slippier and snowier tracks. Not only that, but the ability to map a hard brake to the left trigger meant that I was shaving crucial seconds off of lap times. Combine that with the mapping of shifting gears to the back buttons, and I definitely had an edge over my previous performances in the game. In short, the controller gave me more precise control over the different cars I was playing in, and that is something to be commended in Dirt. When it comes to playing PC games with a controller, I'm a staunch advocate, so I can say with certainty that I loved using the NACON Revolution Pro Controller 3. It connected easily, it was simple to set up different profiles, and it was a joy to use in-game. It worked well on the PS4 too, and with the aim assist that typically appears in console shooters, I definitely had the upper hand. If I was forced to talk about some negatives on the controller, there are only two major gripes I can think of right now. The first is that there is no wireless option for the controller. For PS4, I had to run the cable across my living room, which was easy thanks to the length of the cable, so not a huge bother, but wireless capabilities would have been nice. The second issue isn't really an issue. The material on the Revolution Unlimited is definitely nicer, and it has those wireless capabilities that I was just moaning about. And really, that isn't a negative, it's just me griping that the Revolution Pro 3 isn't the Revolution Unlimited. The Pro 3 is still an amazing controller that offers superior in-game handling at a very reasonable price point. But if you do have that extra little bit of cash, then you should definitely learn more about the Revolution Unlimited. Speaking of the Revolution Unlimited, we also have a video all about this controller, which you can find somewhere here. There'll be a link. Thank you so much for joining us, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up down below, click that bell so that you never miss a video, and hit subscribe to see more great content. And I'll see you in the next one.